The look on Nicholas' face almost caused Butterfly to burst out in laughter. It turns out that Nicholas is just a paper tiger in front of Sophie. As the pilot flew the helicopter away, the terrorists' helicopter pursued them with the intention of engaging them in a dogfight. A grim expression descended upon Nicholas' face as he snarled, "Damn it! These guys have no respect for me at all. Don't they know what this place is?" Furthermore, the Sable family crest was emblazoned across the helicopter. "Why are you so worked up about it, Nicholas? These guys are vicious. They don't give a damn who you are." In reality, Nicholas' name didn't carry much weight in Englander. At the same time, Arius, too, was amused by Butterfly's words. "She's such a brazen gal. Can't she see how Nicholas is already fuming?" Just like Arius, Butterfly knew that Nicholas would never lay a finger on them simply because they were Sophie's close friends. As a result, they had nothing to fear from him. It was true that Nicholas wasn't going to hold Butterfly accountable, as Sophie was sitting right in front of them. To kill Butterfly at that moment would be to upset Sophie. Grabbing a machine gun, he fired a barrage of bullets at the approaching helicopter to keep it at bay. Soon, their helicopter managed to break through the encirclement and fly back to the Sable residence. When Javier saw that Sophie had arrived, he was lost for words, for there was truly nothing to say. Hence, he remained upstairs instead of going down to welcome them. Given his strained relationship with Sophie, it would be awkward to see her face to face. "Sophie, I hope you don't mind resting here. It's much safer here compared to the ongoing chaos outside." Nicholas had assumed his place was absolutely safe until the terrorists disregarded his family crest and attacked their helicopter. Only then did he take on a humbler tone. Hum. Sophie didn't mind taking a break there. "Tristan, you're not welcome here. Now that you're safe, you can go." Nicholas was naturally jealous of his romantic rival and found him to be an eyesore. "I'll be by Sophie's side wherever she is," Tristan snapped, ignoring Nicholas' show of displeasure. "He can fume all he wants, but it has nothing to do with me. Tristan, we're in my territory, so." "So what if it is? Do you think I'm afraid?" "Nicholas, if you don't like us being here, we can leave. I'm in no mood to listen to your meaningless complaints. It's not like we have no choice but to be here." Nicholas scratched his nose awkwardly as he protested. "Why do you have to keep scolding me, Sophie? What have I done wrong? I have just risked my life to rescue all of you." He felt aggrieved by her attitude. "Didn't I promise her that I'll see a psychologist? She had agreed to give me a chance in return. So why does she keep treating me this way?" Butterfly nodded as she protested on Nicholas' behalf. "Nicholas insisted on rescuing you despite being wounded, Sophie. Why don't you just let it slide?" It was clear to Butterfly that Nicholas' feelings for Sophie were so strong that he was willing to sacrifice his life for her. Meanwhile, Richard sent someone over with food. After gathering around, the famished Arius wolfed down his food while Tristan barely touched it. The sight of Nicholas had caused him to lose his appetite. "What's wrong? Do you not like the food?" Sophie inquired when she noticed him fiddling with his food. Since they were in Nicholas' territory, they had no choice but to make do. "I'm not really hungry," Tristan flatly replied. Sophie held his hand as she reassured him. "We won't stay here too long and will be leaving soon." Cognizant that he was uncomfortable staying at Nicholas' place, she had no choice but to comfort him. "I'm fine. I'm not that petty. Besides, as I'm the person who has your affection, I have already won. The more reason for me not to be angry." Sophie broke into a smile as she remarked, "I'm glad to hear that." Although she saw the matter as a trivial one, she still had to take his feelings into consideration. After the meal, Nicholas assigned them their rooms so that they could shower and change. "I'll be by Sophie's side wherever she is," Tristan snapped, ignoring Nicholas' show of displeasure. "He can fume all he wants, but it has nothing to do with me." All of them subsequently went off to wash up, as they could no longer bear the stench on their bodies after the long day. Sophie, too, didn't think too much about it. She subsequently emerged after taking a bath and getting a fresh change of clothes. Well aware that Javier was in the mansion, she took the initiative to see him. Javier, expecting the visit, didn't stop her from visiting. "I didn't expect you to have the gall to show your face here," Javier snapped, "for she was the person who killed Alex." In her amusement, Sophie retorted, "Why wouldn't I? Am I a coward in your eyes? Alex died because he deserved it. Aren't you afraid that I'll kill you?" Javier whipped out a gun and pointed it right between her eyes. "You wouldn't dare. He doesn't have the courage to do it with Tristan and Nicholas in the mansion. You really are confident in yourself." Javier resented Sophie's attitude, for it made him feel like he was predictable and that he was powerless against her. "In that case, what are you doing here? Are you here just to challenge my authority?" "I don't think she's that silly. No. I just want to inform you that Nicholas has agreed to see a psychologist. I feel that you should find him a good one. Being obsessive is a form of mental illness, and Nicholas' condition is extremely grave. If he doesn't get treatment soon, the consequences will be unpredictable." "All right. I understand," Javier concurred, as he, too, had hoped for the same. Now that his son had agreed to it, he would naturally make the arrangements. "There's nothing else I have to say other than remind you that you owe me. Nicholas isn't someone who would listen to just about anybody. Do you think Nicholas would have turned out that way if it wasn't for you? Isn't it too much to expect me to thank you?" "I disagree. I have never come on to your son. It was he who pursued me of his own volition," Sophie asserted. Her confidence was built on the truth. After all, she clearly had no hand in how Nicholas turned out. "On top of that, you don't have to worry about me getting involved with him in any way," Sophie declared. Once she had said her piece, she strode out of Javier's study. The moment she left, Nicholas emerged from the shadows, eliciting a sigh from Javier. "What's your goal in getting me to hear those words? Didn't I already tell you? Stop wasting your time." At that moment, sorrow was the only thing Nicholas felt. Nothing else really mattered, for what Sophie said was true. "Nicholas, why are you such a failure? Didn't she make herself clear? She has no feelings for you at all. In that case, you should do what's necessary. Now that you have a golden opportunity, do you still need me to remind you of it?" Tristan never had the intention of letting Nicholas go. Now that the former was here in their home, killing Tristan would be extremely easy. "I don't want Sophie to hate me." He obviously knew that this was the best chance he had, but couldn't bear the lifelong burden of Sophie's animosity. Javier inhaled a deep breath. "Nicholas, are you really my son? Since when do I have such a failure like you as my son?" "He has forsaken his family on the account of love." Nicholas remained silent, for it was a question he didn't have the answer to. "Let me remind you again that this is as close as you would ever come to killing him. If you let him go, he might not return the favor next time." They had no illusions as to how ruthless Tristan was. "If I die in his hands, I'll gladly accept my fate." No matter what, he wasn't going to kill Tristan in front of Sophie. Meanwhile, Sophie went to see Tristan in his room. "I've ordered someone to pick us up." It wasn't safe for them to continue lingering in Nicholas' territory. If the latter harbored any hostile intentions, they would be put in an extremely precarious position. Sophie nodded in agreement. "Got it. It's true that staying back isn't a good idea." She was then pulled into Tristan's embrace. "What's on your mind?" "I was just thinking about everything that happened recently," Sophie answered, as exhaustion caused her to lean into his embrace. "Now's not the time for that. You should get some sleep instead." She hasn't gotten any rest during her time at International Medical Association. After all that has happened today, she must be exhausted. "No, I can rest when I'm home." Truth be told, she didn't fully trust Nicholas still. Given that the latter never stopped finding ways to kill Tristan, there was no way she could sleep at a time like this. Sure, Tristan didn't want to pressure her. After all, his men were arriving soon, and she could have all the rest she needed when they were home. Meanwhile, even after Marcus' men combed the primeval forest, they failed to locate Sophie and her companions. After Barney learned about the shootout in the forest, his expression drastically changed. Dr. Smith, as you can see, the men I've sent were unable to locate them. Now that chaos reigns across Englander, you have to step forward and take charge. Marcus had run out of ideas. Barney took a deep breath before replying, I understand. There was no way he could ignore the devastation created by the virus. Yet he still couldn't accept the fact that Sophie and Arius lost their lives just like that. Dr. Smith, now that the nation is in crisis, we have no choice but to let go of the past. Our current priority is to work hard to solve the problem that lies before us. Barney remained silent, as he still couldn't take his mind off Arius and Sophie. However, the attackers were terrorists, and there was a huge number of them. Just the thought of those two losing their lives saddened him. All this wouldn't have happened if I didn't ask them to come with me. Both of them were still so young, and their future path was paved with limitless possibilities. While Barney was mired in self-loathing, his phone rang from an unknown number. Arius' voice rang out the moment he answered. Dr. Smith, it's me. Don't worry. Sophie and I are fine, and we'll be back very soon. On top of that, Sophie has found out the reason for the virus mutation and is confident of finding a cure for it very soon. Cognizant that Barney would be worried, Arius found a phone to give his mentor a call. Now's not the time for that. You should get some sleep instead. She hasn't gotten any rest during her time at International Medical Association. After all that has happened today, she must be exhausted. Arius, are you really all right? Hearing Arius' voice felt like a surreal experience for Barney. Don't worry. We're perfectly fine. After exchanging a few more words, Barney headed to his temporary lab and returned to his work. Thank God they're all right. Upon ending the call, Arius was given a fright when he turned around to see Butterfly appear out of nowhere. What are you doing? You almost scared me to death, standing behind me silently like that. What's there to be afraid of if your conscience is clear? What a strange man. Why is he so worked up when we have escaped from the jaws of death together? I'm not afraid of anything. He has turned out this way simply because he's just too kind. By the way, we'll be leaving soon. Are you coming with us? Arius asked Butterfly. Yes, I am. Even though Nicholas had saved her life, there was no point in her staying back, as they were not on the same side. Soon, Tristan's men came to pick them up. Knowledge of their departure quickly upset Nicholas. Sophie, why can't you stay one night before leaving? What do the lives of all those people have anything to do with us? Is it necessary to sacrifice so much for them? No matter what, he refused to let Sophie leave. His objections caused Sophie to stop in her tracks. Nicholas, our values diverge from each other. It's very difficult for me to explain what I'm doing. Since she failed the first time, she felt that repeating herself was nothing but a waste of time. That said, I'm truly grateful to you for rescuing us. She would never forget that she owed him her life despite the bad blood. In that case, why don't I come with you? Since she's unwilling to stay, I'm sure I can go with her. How can you do that with your wounds? Besides, didn't you agree to see a psychologist? Nicholas would be a lot more useful if he could keep his emotions in check. I don't care. I just want to be by your side. He couldn't be bothered with the Sable family anymore. Richard came forward at once. Boss, the Sable family. A grim look descended upon Nicholas' face. I really want to be by Sophie's side. So what if she loves another? All that matters is that I can keep her safe. The Sable family couldn't afford to lose its head, Nicholas, at a time like this. Nicholas, I remember what I promised you. Therefore, once you see the psychologist, I'll treat you to dinner. That was his reward for saving them this time. In the end, Nicholas escorted them out reluctantly. He had no idea if Sophie was telling the truth, as she had always been merciless to him. Nevertheless, as the head of the Sable family, It was his responsibility to protect the family at a time when Anglander had fallen into chaos. What about Butterfly? Richard wanted to clarify if the hostage was allowed to leave. Let her go. With Butterfly at Sophie's side, there would be one more person to keep the latter safe, putting his mind at ease. Subsequently, Richard didn't dare say another word considering the foul mood Nicholas was in. The sight of Nicholas staying back to take charge of the Sable family elicited a sigh of relief from Javier. Son, I know I have failed you all these years. Once the crisis is over, I'll support you in whatever you want to do. I'm sure you'll be satisfied this way, won't you? He was well aware of how much Nicholas liked Sophie, but current circumstances had tied their hands. As for Nicholas, he was surprised to hear his father soften his stance for the very first time. All right. I'll go and see the psychologist. If I no longer have feelings for her once I'm cured, I won't see her anymore. However, if my feelings remain the same after treatment, no one is going to get in my way. Richard, stay close to him and keep him safe. The situation in Anglander was extremely dangerous due to the ongoing power struggle. Nodding, Richard reassured Javier. Don't worry, old Mr. Sable. I'll definitely protect Mr. Sable. Nicholas was everything to Javier. There was no way he was going to allow any harm to come to the former. The current chaos made Javier feel anxious because the virus incident would result in a massive reshuffle of power in Anglander. Amidst the upheaval, it was imperative for the Sable family to survive. Nicholas was their only hope now that Javier was too old to lead the family. Once the group got into the car and traveled through Anglander's streets, they could see different factions on it. Hence, the general public stayed at home, as no one dared to step out into the streets. They were worried about losing their lives if they weren't careful. Consequently, the sight before Butterfly triggered a sigh from her. I never expected the mighty Anglander to fall into such a state. It was a truly unbelievable sight. That's right. Having spent many years living there, Arius had never seen such pandemonium within the country. Once prosperity was gone, misery was all that was left. Soon, their car arrived at Tristan's mansion, where they planned to stay the night before meeting with Barney. The terrorists are looking for you and Arius, but both of you will be safe here, as I have gathered everyone available. If the terrorist were to attack us, we could also go all out to wipe them out. Why don't we get Anglander's president to send troops over? The terrorists are a bunch of crazies. I don't want our men to suffer any unnecessary casualties. I've already gotten someone to get in touch with him, but he's in an equally precarious position right now. It wasn't going to be easy for Marcus to move his troops due to the tight spot he was in. When Tristan looked reluctant to leave after she lay down on the bed, Sophie suggested, "You should get some rest. You've had a long day too." Contrary to her words, Tristan took off his clothes and climbed into bed with her. "What are you doing? Isn't he a principled man? Doesn't he feel uncomfortable lying here with me? I'm protecting you." He wasn't going to let her out of his sight during their time in Anglander. As long as he stayed by her side, they would be together even in death. Sophie snuggled up to him as she said, "Was it a mistake for me to come here, Tristan? I have dragged you into this mess. Butterfly has now returned to our side, while anarchy reigns in Anglander. It's no big deal. Regardless of your decision, I'll always be by your side. Your burden is mine to share. Come what may. It's no big deal. Regardless of your decision, I'll always be by your side. Your burden is mine to share. Come what may." He had never blamed her for anything. Tristan, why are you so good to me? He never fails to mesmerize me." She then leaned in and gave his chin a bite. "We'll go home once all this is over. After this, I'll obey everything he says and not get involved in any more shit. You don't have to account for me in your decisions. Just follow where your heart takes you. I'll always have your back." Sophie wrapped herself around him with all four limbs. "What should I do? I don't know what else to say." She was never particularly good with words. Tristan sealed her lips with his as he murmured, "Don't say anything then. All she needs to do is chase her dreams. I'll take care of everything else. After a good night's sleep in the mansion, all of them recovered their strength. They subsequently gathered for breakfast the next morning. Butterfly, I have made arrangements for you to go home. It's not safe for you here. I can't go due to unfinished business, but Butterfly has to leave first. Butterfly shook her head as she protested. Sophie, how can I leave you here after all that we've been through? Let me stay. I promise not to be a burden to you. I'm not worried about you being a burden. I just don't want you to be infected by the virus, as it will greatly complicate the situation. Sophie. How can she do this? I want to stay, really. I'll bear the consequences of my decision, regardless of what they are, all right. I'm not a disloyal friend. There's no way I can abandon her at a time like this. Butterfly, you have to listen to me, Sophie asserted impatiently. In response to Butterfly's persistence, Aureus interjected. Let her stay, Sophie. We'll be safer with one more person around. When Sophie shot him a silent glance, Aureus scratched his nose awkwardly. Even if you order her to go home, it's not like she's going to listen. Keeping her by your side is certainly better than letting her roam all around the place. Sophie, I won't be leaving you all alone here anyway. Even if you tell me to leave, I won't go. Butterfly was persistent in her words. Fine, then you'll stay here. As Sophie knew Butterfly's personality well, she didn't say anything more. The group headed toward the temporary medical research center, which was a place that existed in secret. Since the International Medical Association had been completely destroyed, Barney's exact location would surely remain a secret. Barney finally heaved a sigh of relief upon seeing Sophie and Aureus arriving at the facility. I'm relieved to see the both of you safe and sound. Otherwise, I'll never be able to forgive myself. He was the one who summoned them there. It would be hard for him to be at ease if something bad happened to them in this place. How could you think like that, Dr. Smith? We're totally fine. Besides, even if something really happened to us, it's our fate. You don't have to blame yourself for it. All right. This is the result of my research, Dr. Smith. I have discovered what caused the virus mutation, and I believe we can find a way to resolve this problem. It shouldn't be difficult to fix the rest of the problems now that they have determined the cause. Okay. Let's work hard together. We're racing against time now, so we've got to solve this before the Grim Reaper knocks on the door. As of right now, Englander was in a state of chaos. There was no telling what would happen next if they didn't act quickly, and it was already at its worst point right now. Okay. What about them? We're here to do research, so they won't be much help if they stay. Why don't we let them return home instead? Barney said as he looked at Butterfly and Tristan. Dr. Smith, it isn't absolutely safe here. With both of them around, we can conduct our research and experiments without worrying about safety. Sophie explained the purpose of having Butterfly and Tristan here with them. Barney eventually nodded and agreed after pondering for a brief moment. It didn't make much of a difference to Barney. Everything else was irrelevant as long as Sophie was trustworthy enough. Butterfly, please follow Aureus, Sophie said to Butterfly, who nodded immediately. Don't worry. I'll protect him well. Butterfly also knew that Tristan would remain by Sophie's side and protect her. In this case, she could only protect Aureus for now. Okay. As everyone headed to their respective laboratories, they began a new round of research. While Sophie was busy with her work, Tristan couldn't offer her any assistance since he didn't have any knowledge in that aspect. Therefore, he had no choice but to watch beside her. Oh, so that's what my woman looks like when she does her research. It's so amazing and cool of her to be so focused on her work. Tristan stared at her with a besotted look on his face. At that moment, he really wanted to hug and kiss her, but he knew it wasn't the right time for him to disturb her. Therefore, Tristan chose not to do anything and simply observed her quietly. Sophie kept herself busy until someone brought them food when it was time for lunch. After that, she stopped working and went to eat with Tristan. Is it boring for you? Life in the laboratory is dull. He must find it boring to be here and have nothing to do. No. I think it's quite interesting. Wherever she was, he would never get bored at all. All right. You should eat more. After that, Sophie filled Tristan's lunchbox with meat from her own. You should eat more too. It's you who's putting in the effort. I'm just sitting there doing nothing. I will. Due to the fact that it was a secret base, there was no cafeteria available, so they were only provided with packed meals. As the facilities provided were mediocre, Tristan was quite concerned with Sophie's health. After lunch, Sophie leaned against Tristan to rest for a while, feeling exhausted from all the mental work she had been doing. She was satisfied enough with only resting her eyes for a while. Because Tristan knew she was exhausted, he did not disturb her sleep. Instead, he allowed her to lean on him for as long as she needed. Sophie, too, didn't realize she could even fall asleep during a critical period like this. It wasn't until half an hour later that she finally woke up. Why didn't you wake me up? How could I fall asleep at a time like this? It's okay. You'll work more efficiently after a short break. Tristan merely thought that she was too tired and wanted her to rest for a while. He just didn't wish to see her so exhausted like that. All right then. I'm going back to work. You can rest for a while, and I'll call you if anything happens. He hadn't been able to take a good rest since the incident with the International Medical Association, so it was time for him to do so. Okay. Meanwhile, in Gypsdale, the Lombard family was even more anxious after learning about the situation in Englander. They knew the country was truly in chaos at the moment. It was so worrying for Isabel that she couldn't even eat at all. Tell me, Aunt Sarah, will Uncle Tristan and Sophie return home safely? Those terrorists are really scary. Sarah's expression was grim as well. Don't talk about something like this in front of Grandpa. He'll be worried sick. Surely Sophie and Tristan will return to us safe and sound. What they're doing there now is righteous and good. They will come home to us, won't they? Although Isabel knew she couldn't say such things at home, she couldn't resist the urge to express her feelings. Otherwise, she wouldn't be able to sleep. Why don't we give them a call, Aunt Sarah? Even though they couldn't go to Englander to visit them, hearing their voices was good enough for them. Okay. Sarah then quickly made a phone call to Tristan. Surprisingly, the call went through almost immediately. Hey, Sarah. Yes, don't worry. We're fine. Sophie's super busy right now, so she couldn't talk much to you. As soon as the call got through, Tristan briefly chatted for a while and hung up after that. Isabel wanted to chat with Sophie for a bit, but she didn't have the chance to do so. Why is Sophie so busy? Sophie always seemed to be preoccupied with something, no matter where she was. All right, enough of that. You can feel at ease now that we know they're safe and sound. With Tristan around, he'll protect Sophie well. They should all have faith that the duo would be able to return home safely. All right. I know. Feeling extremely bored, Isabel had no choice but to look for Felix. Despite being busy, Felix took some time off after seeing her arrive at his office to accompany her. He even requested his secretary to bring some desserts over. What's wrong? You seem really unhappy. Could it be that I'm too busy these days and don't have time to accompany you? Once I'm done with all my stuff, I'll definitely spend more time with you. Felix missed her too, but the problems at hand were simply too overwhelming for him to handle. He needed to take care of everything well so Tristan wouldn't have to worry about anything while he was in Englander. Leave me be. I'm just feeling bored. Felix wrapped his arms around her waist. How could I leave you alone? You're the one I care most about in this world. I don't care about the others, but you will always matter to me. After finishing his words, Felix kissed her on the lips. She was his most treasured sweetheart, after all. Okay. I know you're the best, Isabel murmured, continuing to cuddle close to Felix. Having the girl he liked so much in his arms, Felix could barely control himself. At that moment, he longed to pin her down and shower her with kisses. You enchanting little vixen. You've no idea I'm already completely bewitched by you, he said. I'm a grown man and a little older than her, yet I find it hard to control myself whenever I'm with her. I'm always hoping I can give her the best of everything. As for Isabel, not only was she undaunted, but she even carried on teasing him and deliberately bit his chin. Really? Do you truly love me? Do you want me? She loved seeing him lose control because it gave her a sense of accomplishment. Truly. I want you. I want all of you, every inch of your skin. I want you to belong to me completely. He began planting light kisses on her skin, inch by inch. It was not their first time being so intimate, but he would stop himself every time before things went too far. After all, she was the person he loved the most, and he wanted to protect her. Hence, he had always cherished her dearly. Seeing the burning passion in his eyes, she felt sure that he genuinely loved her. If he didn't, he wouldn't put himself through such agony. I love you, Felix, she whispered into his ear. He lightly sucked on her earlobe and murmured, What an alluring seductress you are. I don't think you know I'll lose it completely if you keep this up. Do you really love me? If you do, can you take me to Englander? I feel uneasy thinking about how Sophie is all alone there. Felix fell silent. So, all this while she was seducing me without regard for the consequences in the hopes that I'd bring her to Englander. Isabel, tell me truthfully, is Sophie more important to you or me? It was something that mattered a lot to him. Why must you compare yourself to her? Isn't the answer obvious? She responded. Sophie is more important, of course. Her reply struck him like a ton of bricks. Will I never hold a candle to Sophie? I'm the man who wants to spend the rest of his life with her. How can she treat me this way? Isabel pushed him away. That's enough. Are you taking me to Englander or not? I really want to go and see what it's like there. You don't have to worry. Once we're there, I'll be obedient and won't cause you guys any trouble. I can promise her anything but that. It's something I have no say in. After observing his expression, she flew into a rage. Why are you like this? Are you going to agree to it or not? If the answer is no, you don't have to come looking for me anymore, she said petulantly. Felix held her in his arms. I'll listen to you for everything else, but as far as this matter is concerned, you know there's nothing I can do. It's utter chaos in Englander now. If I dared to take her there at a time like this, I've no doubt the entire Lombard family would tear me to pieces. She gazed at him morosely, looking close to tears. I've realized you don't love me at all. You wouldn't refuse this small request of mine if your feelings for me were genuine. Felix was at a loss for words. He knew she was being dramatic. However, he was powerless in the matter. Hugging her tightly, he said, Sophie wouldn't want you to go either, so be good and stay here for now. Anger rushed through her, and she bit his arm. Humph. I knew I couldn't count on you. In that case, I'll figure something out myself. After saying that, she straightened her clothes and stormed off. Felix could only shake his head helplessly. I'm known to be a formidable person here in Gypsdale, but to my girlfriend, I don't even compare to a woman. Now that I think about it, that's really pathetic. After he finally managed to contact Tristan that night, he could not help complaining. Can't we go over? Isabel will ignore me if I continue refusing to take her. Although he knew Isabel was mad at him, he still had to see what Tristan would say. Things are a mess here, so why bring her over? Make sure she stays in Chonea and doesn't come here to stir up trouble, came Tristan's reply. Sophie is already exhausted as it is. If Isabel comes and causes a commotion, it'll wear out Sophie even more, and I don't want that to happen. I knew you'd say that, said Felix. But I'm already at my wit's end on how to handle Isabel. You'd better keep a close watch on her. Okay, got it. I'll definitely try my best. Oh, by the way, how's the progress over there? We're still working on it, Tristan answered. Oh, how I loathe that damn virus. Because of it, Sophie is working her fingers to the bone. Okay, noted. You guys remember to be extra careful, Felix reminded. After all, just being in Englander was already dangerous for them. After Tristan hung up the phone, Sophie walked over to him. What's going on? Did something happen back in Chon-Aea? She asked. It's a critical period, and I wish I could stay on top of everything. Nothing. It's just Isabel. She wants to come and look for you. Anyway, you know what she's like. Felix can't keep a good handle on her. Tristan was similarly at a loss for how to deal with that headstrong niece of his. Yeah. Tell Isabel not to come, said Sophie, thinking about how unsafe it was where they were and that there would be no one to take care of Isabel. I agree. I've reminded Felix to keep an eye on her, so don't worry. I won't let her show up and disrupt things here. He was sure that even if she did come, she would not be of any help and would only get in the way. Just then, Arius approached them. Come on. The president is here, and Dr. Smith has asked us to join them. Arius harbored a deep dislike for Marcus. He's asking us for help but acts so arrogantly. It's disgusting. Okay, sure. Let's go. All three of them headed straight to the conference room. When they arrived, they found that the atmosphere in the room was tense. Marcus had just thrown a fit. Despite that, Barney remained exceptionally calm. Dr. Smith, is there really no other way? Don't you know how serious the consequences will be if the situation continues like this? Marcus demanded, tearing at his hair. I'm the one currently caught in the toughest spot, and no one in this country understands me. However, what have I done wrong? Mr. President, we're all working as hard as we can. You saw how we're only getting 3 hours of sleep a day. We're already trying our best. As for the rest, it was not in their power to do anything. What do you mean by that? Are you saying I should give up on Englander? It irked Arius to see Marcus talk to Barney that way. In a brusque tone, he uttered, Mr. President, you're the one who invited us here, and may I point out that we didn't promise we'd be able to solve the situation before coming here. You're the one who begged for our help, so you should start acting like someone who needs our help. Seeing Arius take that attitude, Marcus' secretary, Jamie, stood up immediately. What did you say? What's the matter? Did I say anything untrue? Arius retorted, his voice clipped. So what if he's the president? How can you talk to the president like that? This is Englander. If you dare to utter another word, I can make it so that you won't be able to leave the country, Jamie threatened haughtily. Ha! Sophie could not help sneering. We've been buckling down day and night, but these people still have the guts to show up here and waste our time. I've had enough. If you think we can't do it, we can leave right now, she said icily. Seeing that, Marcus tried his best to calm down, then slapped his secretary. Is that how you should talk to Professor Gulliver? Jamie dared not say anything after getting slapped and stepped aside silently. My apologies. I was just too anxious. You're also aware of my situation, and I was only hoping you could speed things up a little. Mr. President, you should also be aware that scientific research isn't something where we can control its speed, Barney replied, sticking to his previous answer. In fact, no one has any control over it. If you have nothing else to do, start thinking of ways to manage the current state of affairs on the ground instead of coming here to berate us. Sophie snapped. Knowing he could not afford to lose his temper again, Marcus replied. Okay, I understand. I'll stabilize the situation on the ground. However, I do hope you can work a little faster. With that, he left with his subordinates. Arius immediately pulled out a chair and plopped down onto it. That damn jerk. He needs us but is still so high-handed. Who does he think he is? Turning to Barney, Sophie asked, Are you okay? He nodded. He was already used to such encounters and was not shaken at all. Don't take what he said to heart, you two. He was too agitated, that's all. Barney did not wish for the pair to have to face any ramifications. Okay. I'll be heading back then, Dr. Smith, Sophie replied. She was also unfazed, knowing that such situations were common occurrences. Their research advanced at a swift pace over the next few days. Thanks to the trio's joint efforts, they soon successfully extracted the virus' structural composition and refined an antiviral medicine to curb the virus. Once they had done that, they finally breathed a sigh of relief. Subsequently, the medicine would be tested on humans to assess the body's adaptability to it. Their research had progressed smoothly without any issues, and the citizens of Englander were all abuzz upon learning that the International Medical Association had managed to develop a medicine. The public had been worried and fearful for so long, living every day in agony. Now, they could not help wondering whether those days were finally over. After handing over the medicine to those handling the clinical trials, Barney, Aureus, and Sophie returned to their hotel. Physically drained after such a long, exhausting period, they needed a few days of proper rest before working on the medicine again if there were still any issues. Upon returning to the hotel and seeing his large plush bed, Aureus nearly burst into tears. It had been so long since he last had a good rest. The next moment, he threw himself onto the bed, pulled the covers over him, and fell fast asleep. I don't care about anything anymore. Even if something crops up, I can't be bothered. All I want is a restful night's sleep. Whatever happens, it can wait until I've slept to my heart's content. I don't want anybody coming to disturb me. Meanwhile, Barney still seemed troubled. Although we've developed the medicine, what about its effectiveness? That still needs to be tested, and if I'm being honest, I still don't feel confident about it. Dr. Smith, you don't have to be so worried. We're only coming back to rest for a couple of days. If there are really any problems, we'll solve them. That's all, Sophie said when she saw him like that. No matter how capable one still needs rest. If we let ourselves become burned out, there'll be even fewer people to conduct the research. I know. You've been working hard, so go catch up on some rest, he replied. She's right. We need a break. When Sophie and Tristan got back to their room, she went straight to the bathroom for a shower and crashed out immediately after. He knew just how exhausted she had been recently, and although he had been at the research center all this time, he had not done much. Hence, he was not as tired. Upon returning to the hotel, he gave Sean a call right away. Mr. Tristan, how are things over there? Sean had seen the news that they had developed a new antidote, so he thought it would not be long before they could return. We should be able to go back in another 2 weeks, Tristan replied. After all, they would still need time for tests if there were specific issues with the medicine. By the way, did you find out anything about the group of people who hunted us down previously? Those people had wanted to kidnap Sophie, and he was determined to make them pay. Yeah, I did. I'll send you the information shortly. You can think about how you want to deal with them, Sean responded. They're just a bunch of terrorists, yet they dare to act arrogantly in front of us. Sean sent the information on the terrorist organization to Tristan, and after the latter had gone through it, he wasted no time in making arrangements to send some men over there at once. He wanted to destroy their base and capture their leader alive. After learning of Tristan's plans, Charles immediately offered to lead a team there. Trust me, Mr. Tristan. I can take care of it, Charles said. He had led a complacent life long enough and wanted to be involved in dealing with matters like that. Are you sure you can do it? Tristan was a little concerned. No matter what he does, he always does it with a lot of enthusiasm. That's just the kind of person that Charles is. However, he's the one I worry about the most of the three. You have to believe in me, Mr. Tristan. After all, I've worked with all of you for so long, so I can handle stuff like this too, Charles insisted. He felt it was time that he spread his wings. Very well then. You can pick the people for your team. After all, the terrorists were no weaklings, and it was no surprise that they would be incredibly skilled and capable. Sure. Don't worry. Just leave it to me. There won't be any hiccups, and I definitely won't let you guys down. It's your first time carrying out a mission like this, so be careful, okay? Frankly, Sean was not entirely comfortable with the decision. Nonetheless, he also thought Charles did need an opportunity like that. One can't remain in their comfort zone forever. If they keep doing that, they'll never experience growth. Or why don't I go with him? If there's both of us, we can look out for one another, suggested Felix. That won't be necessary, Felix. Trust me. I can head over on my own. Having seen the files on the terrorist organization, he believed that he could manage it all on his own. You should just focus on your relationship instead. Why would you want to go with me? I don't need your company. Charles felt he needed such an opportunity. You. Fine. Be careful then. Realizing that Charles wouldn't let him come along, he had no choice but to give up. Charles did not tell his family where he was headed and what he was doing. Thinking he was going to Englander, Winter kept pestering him to let her go with him. Take me with you, Charles. I just want to make sure you're all right over there. I promise I won't cause you any trouble. Given how dangerous it was in Englander, she didn't feel safe letting him go alone. Why are you being so persistent, Winter? I've told you that it's impossible between you and Tristan, haven't I? Stop blaming it on Sophie. He wouldn't date you with or without her in his life. Charles said with a frown. I've told her this countless times, so why is she still being so stubborn? You've never been in love with someone, so you would never understand how I feel. I can't stop my heart from longing for him. She would have stopped herself from loving Tristan if she could. That's enough. Grandpa isn't well right now. Instead of thinking about such things, you should visit Grandpa at the hospital and spend more time with him. Charles wasn't about to let her go with him, especially since she was finally back. Fine. If you won't bring me along, then I'll find a way to head over myself. Winter was determined to get what she wanted, with or without his help. Charles headed out after all of his preparations were complete. 15 hours had passed by the time Sophie woke up. It wasn't like her to sleep for such long periods of time, but she was too tired and didn't feel like getting up after lying down. The first thing she saw upon opening her eyes was Tristan lying next to her and staring at her. She felt her face burn up from his scorching gaze. You haven't had a good night's sleep in a long time. Shouldn't you be getting some sleep now that you're finally back? Why are you staring at me like that? He really deserved a good rest after everything he had gone through. Tristan pulled her into his arms as he replied, I didn't sleep because I wanted to look at you. Honestly, I can't believe a pretty girl like you would exist in this world. I can't help but find every inch of your body irresistible. There wasn't a single part of her that he didn't like. Hearing those words of affection filled Sophie's heart with a sweet sensation. Thanks for staying by my side all this while, Tristan. I know it wasn't easy for you, she said while kissing him on the lips. He has a lot on his plate as is, and yet, he set them aside so he could remain by my side at all times. This man really loves me to the core. I didn't do anything, so it's not exactly rough at all. It was the three of them who conducted the research while being under a ridiculous amount of pressure, so it was them who truly had it rough. However, Sophie never let them down and managed to save the day once again. It felt as though she could solve any problem anytime with ease. Sophie rolled herself on top of him and said, We'll be able to head back in another 2 more weeks at most. The problem here would have been taken care of by then. I can't wait to head back to Chonne. I don't like the environment here in Englander. Are you hungry? You must be starving after sleeping for so long, huh? Shall I have someone bring you some food? Yeah, I am a little hungry. Sophie had eaten before going to bed, but she found herself getting hungry after hearing him say that. Tristan had the hotel staff bring some food over to their room, and they then took turns feeding each other. Had someone told her in the past that she would act all lovey-dovey with her man, she would never have believed it. Even so, everything Sophie did with Tristan simply came naturally to her and filled her heart with a sweet and warm feeling. They had just finished eating when someone knocked on the door. The look on Tristan's face turned gloomy when he opened the door and saw Arius and Butterfly standing outside. We haven't been able to rest well for a long time, so why aren't you two resting in your rooms? Why come and disturb us like this? He asked with a frown. Arius pouted as he replied, As tired as we may have been, we've had over 10 hours of sleep, which is more than enough. Anyway, I didn't come here to disturb you too. There's something that I need to speak to Sophie about. Butterfly simply kept quiet and stood behind Aureus the entire time. Tristan sighed as he stepped aside to let them in. Upon noticing the food on the table, Aureus helped himself to it without any hesitation. Butterfly fell speechless when she saw that. Professor Gulliver really isn't picky about his food, huh? What's wrong? Is there a problem with the medicine? Sophie asked. We have conducted tons of experiments on it, so there shouldn't be any issues. No problem at all. I just came to tell you that our mentor has headed over, so you can rest easy now. Apparently, Barney was so worried that he went there to keep watch himself. Sophie frowned when she heard that. He's not exactly feeling well, so why wouldn't he stay here and rest instead? Okay. I'll head over later and have a look. In order to reduce the drug's side effects as much as possible, they would have to monitor the clinical trials closely. No. You've been exhausting yourself a lot lately, so you should just stay here and rest. I'll go and have a look, Aureus said. Tristan nodded in approval of Aureus' response. Yeah, he can take care of things for you. You should just stay here and try to get some more rest. Butterfly knew that she was worried about Aureus' safety, so she reassured her. Don't worry, Sophie. I'll go with Aureus and keep him safe. All right then. We'll swap places tomorrow. Sophie decided not to dwell on the matter as it wasn't anything worth stressing herself over. Aureus then headed out of the room with Butterfly, leaving Sophie and Tristan inside. She had been too busy to think about the terrorist organization's motives for capturing her and Aureus, but she had all the time in the world to do so now. You wanted me to look into the terrorist organization, right? Could you show me the files? She asked. Tristan switched on his laptop and showed her the data that Sean had gathered. As Sophie was able to read 10 lines in a single glance, she was able to skim through the data fairly quickly and understood the situation. Heh, these people sure are bold. I can't believe they had the audacity to capture me. With Barney and Aureus around, she figured her presence was not needed at the moment. How about we go say hi to these people, Tristan? Since she would be free for the next couple of days, she decided to destroy the terrorist organization's base and capture their leader in retaliation. Tristan knew exactly what Sophie was planning when he saw the look in her eyes. Even so, he would always support her decisions no matter what. Meanwhile, Charles had arrived in Fandar with his men. It had been a long time since he got to embark on an exciting mission like this, so he was incredibly thrilled about it. The fact that he would be doing this all by himself only made him all the more excited. He really enjoyed the adrenaline rush from carrying out risky missions. This is a very dangerous operation, Mr. Quigley. Please be extra careful, said Bertram Asher, one of Tristan's subordinates. Having worked alongside Tristan for many years, he was extremely experienced with combat situations like these. Tristan didn't feel safe sending Charles over all by himself, so he had Bertram go with him. How incompetent do you think I am, Bertram? I've been working for Mr. Tristan just as long as you have, if not longer. Don't worry. I know what I'm doing. Charles snapped at him. Despite his usual carefree attitude, he was able to get serious when necessary. I know you're very capable, Mr. Quigley. I simply think it is better to err on the side of caution when it comes to this sort of thing. Got it. We're in a perfect spot for observation and reconnaissance. These bastards sure are bold going after Sophie. Don't they know who they're messing with? Bertram glanced at the guys he had brought with him. We have plenty of manpower and weapons, and there are dozens of helicopters on standby as well. We simply need to give the order to mobilize them. The tense moment was interrupted when Charles's phone rang all of a sudden. Hello, Mr. Tristan. We're just about to commence the operation. All the preparations are complete, so you can rest assured that nothing will go wrong. Charles said upon answering the call. He was extremely confident in their abilities and preparation. Cancel the operation for now. Sophie and I have just arrived. We'll greet those bastards in person, Tristan ordered. They didn't get to fight to their heart's content during their last battle, so he was determined to leave a lasting impression this time. What? I'm all set and ready to move out though. Why are you telling me to stop now? Charles exclaimed with a speechless look on his face. He was really looking forward to this mission, after all. What's the matter? Do you have a problem with that? Tristan asked. Charles took a deep breath to calm himself down before replying. All right, I understand. I'll stay here and wait for you guys. He didn't dare disobey Tristan's orders, so he had no choice but to sit back and wait. What's the matter? Is Charles disappointed or something? Charles was really looking forward to carrying out this mission, so he must be unhappy now that we came over. Don't worry about him. I just want you to be happy. Tristan really couldn't care less about how anyone else felt. Sophie's lips curled into a gorgeous smile as she said, I bet Charles must be so mad at me right now. As the weather was really cold in Anglander, the two of them instantly felt a huge contrast in temperature when they got off the plane in Fandar. Sophie and Tristan had already gotten changed while they were at the airport. Despite only wearing a plain black t-shirt and a pair of black bloomers, she looked gorgeous as it helped highlight her fair skin. Tristan, too, was dressed fully in black. In order to rock simplistic outfits like these, one would need to have a fit and well-proportioned body. Fortunately for Tristan, that was exactly the kind of body he had. He looked so good that the girls around them were all drooling when they passed him by. That masculine frame and muscular body was such a killer combination that some of the women even approached him to ask for his number. Tristan simply shot her an icy cold glance in response. The look in his eyes was so intimidating that they ran off immediately. While Sophie had gotten used to the attention he received from women, Tristan felt incredibly uncomfortable when he saw the men ogling her. What are you guys looking at? I'll have you killed if you don't stop staring at her, he shouted while pulling Sophie into his arms and glaring coldly at them. Shocked by his brutal response, the men quickly ran off. You're scaring them, Tristan. Really? Am I that scary? I think I'm quite friendly, though. Yeah, you are. Sophie didn't know what else to say in response. Oh, well. Whatever floats his boat, I guess. I don't like those guys ogling me anyway, so it's good to have Tristan scare them off for me. Charles quickly got out of the car when he saw them approaching. Although he was a little unhappy when he first heard about their arrival, he decided to pick them up in person anyway. After all, he knew he didn't have the right to get mad at someone like Tristan. It had been over a month since Charles last saw them, so he greeted them warmly. Mr. Tristan. Sophie. I'm over here. Despite only being in Fandar for 2 days, Charles had already developed quite a tan. That showed just how sunny it was over there. Sophie nodded and hopped right into the car. Because of how hot the weather was, she desperately needed some air conditioning to help her cool off. What are you two doing here, Mr. Tristan? I thought you said you would let me take care of things here. Do you not trust me to get the job done? Charles asked with a pout as he handed Tristan a lit cigarette. I've worked alongside Tristan for so many years now. Does he not know my skill level? To his surprise, however, Tristan turned his offer down. Charles shot him a confused look. What's wrong? Is he not going to smoke if Sophie is in the car? Does he really have to go that far for her? I've stopped smoking, Tristan replied. He had been slowly dropping some of his bad habits ever since he met Sophie. What? You quit smoking? Since when? Why do I not know about that? Charles exclaimed in shock. We promised to live a free and adventurous life together. And yet, Sophie and I are getting married, right? We'll need to get ready to start a family after that, so I decided to quit smoking now. Tristan was determined to become a flawless husband for Sophie's sake. What they won't be getting married until a year later. Why does he have to start preparing for it so soon? Is Mr. Tristan really that eager to marry her? Jokes aside, are you looking forward to having kids or the process of having kids? Honestly, I admire Mr. Tristan for being able to hold himself back despite having such a beautiful girlfriend. It must take a ridiculous amount of willpower to do that. Tristan simply rolled his eyes at Charles without saying anything. Why would he ask such a silly question? What difference does it even make? I just want to become a perfect husband for Sophie, that's all. Alright, let's get going. Sophie didn't eat much on the plane because the food didn't taste good, so she's really hungry now. Let's go get something to eat. Okay. Since Tristan had quit smoking, Charles wasn't about to make them wait while he smoked a cigarette. He quickly put the cigarette out, tossed it into the trash, and got into the car. Tristan got into the car while Charles climbed into the passenger seat. You're truly amazing, Sophie. Honestly, I've never admired anyone. You're the first one. Even within the country, he had heard of Sophie's meritorious achievements. Verily, she was a legend. Not at all. I'm just an ordinary person. Sophie really felt that there was nothing great about her. Besides, she had been on the receiving end of far too many such compliments. As such, they did not affect her anymore. Perhaps that was the difference between a genius and an average person. The average person would be delighted to hear someone praising her. Contrarily, someone like her had gotten accustomed to such praise ages ago and did not care about it anymore. All right, she's tired after such a long flight, so zip it. This time, Charles was ruthlessly shot down. The corners of his mouth twitched. Before Mr. Tristan got acquainted with Sophie, I was also dear to him. In the past, he'd never disdained me such. Sure enough, comparisons are the root of feelings of inferiority. Right now, he no longer has any regard for me. The drive took over 2 hours before they arrived at the hotel Charles and the others were staying at. Upon reaching, Sophie quickly took a shower. The weather there was so scorching that one would sweat any time and anywhere. A trace of regret crept into her for having come over in person. Likewise, Tristan took a shower. When he was done, he phoned Charles and called the man over. When Charles came over, he explained the plan in detail before regarding Tristan smugly. Well, isn't my plan this time perfect? Truthfully, he had really put in a great effort this time. Fortunately, Tristan was pretty satisfied with the arrangements. Yeah, not bad. You improved a lot. Both he and Sean were quite protective of Charles, so the latter had not been involved in such a thing much. However, the man could already handle things on his own then. After we go back, Sean can hand those tricky matters to you to handle, Tristan stated. Really? Among the 4 of them, Charles was the least capable. Even so, he could still handle things on his own when he was thrown in at the deep end. Only when Sophie had finished showering did the 3 of them have a meal together. With Bertram keeping an eye on the terrorist organization, they did not need to worry about that. The food during the flight was not all that great, but even in Fandar, it was still more or less the same. I really miss the delicious food back in Chon. Indeed, when one had traveled the world, one would realize that their homeland was the most unforgettable place of all. If you don't like eating all this, I'll have someone find a Chilean chef to cook specially for you in a while. They decided to come over on the spur of the moment, so Tristan did not ask Charles to make such an arrangement. No, it's okay. We'll be heading back to Englander immediately after resolving the matter here. The issue over there is still hanging in the balance. The final results would be out by the time they returned. After perfecting things, they could then go back to the country. Okay then. It's no big deal. It's just finding a Chilean chef, no? How about this? I'll have someone go about it later. No, forget it. When are we acting? Sophie knew that Charles had come over and arranged everything. Therefore, all they needed to do then was to go along with his arrangements. What does that mean? Are you saying I'll still be in charge of the mission this time, Sophie? I thought I'd definitely lose the authority to lead this time. You've made all the arrangements, no? In that case, you're naturally leading the mission. Sophie only came over to ascertain those people's motive in capturing her. She was not really interested in taking the lead. After all, she would be much better off without anything to do. At that, Charles shifted his gaze to Tristan. Is this for real? This is way too sudden. Tristan nodded in affirmation. You can take command. I believe that you can do a good job. In truth, Charles was capable. Besides, the mission this time was not all that difficult. When the three of them had finished eating, they converged with Bertram and the others. The instant Bertram spotted Tristan, he went over and greeted the man. Mr. Tristan, Ms. Tanner. In return, Tristan and Sophie inclined their heads a fraction. Mr. Quigley will still be in charge of the mission this time. Work with him, Tristan ordered. Understood. Bertram had never doubted the man's orders, only ever obeying them to the letter. It was his first time meeting Sophie, though he had long since known that Tristan had a girlfriend he could not afford to mess with. Still, he was shocked upon laying eyes on her. Whoa. She's stunningly beautiful. But the thing is, she's overly young compared to Mr. Tristan. I really didn't expect him to be such a scoundrel that he would even make a move on such a young lady. When Tristan glimpsed the look in Bertram's eyes, his temper spiked. What's the meaning of this gaze of yours? He's itching for a beating, huh? Immediately, Bertram retracted his gaze. Oh God, I've got to be more tactful, for I don't want to die yet. I wouldn't be able to survive a beating from him. He hastily went in search of Charles to discuss the attack later. Meanwhile, Sophie and Tristan got into the car to helm things there temporarily. However, Sophie did not quite like staying there. Can I go with them? You can stay and give orders here alone. She was utterly curious about the identity of the person who dared send so many people to capture her. Tristan had anticipated that she would not be able to stay out of the action, considering the fact that she came all their way here to take part in the mission this time and seize the leader of the terrorist organization personally. Okay. I'll have Charles take command while I go in with you. No matter what, he would be too worried to allow her in alone. That's fine too. Charles knew that Tristan was letting him take the lead this time because the man wanted to give him the opportunity to practice. By then, he had already worn his earphones. No sooner had he gone over than he was greeted by the sight of Sophie attaching 2 pistols to her waistband. Then, she snagged a submachine gun. Seeing that, he was inexorably stunned. While he had always known that she was a remarkable woman, he had never witnessed it in person. At her bearing then, he suddenly pitted the terrorists on the opposing side. You're planning to get in on the action, Sophie? Yeah. That was why I boarded a flight that took more than 10 hours, okay? I'm going to nab the leader of the terrorist organization personally. Be careful then. No matter what, the other party is a renowned terrorist organization. It'd be bad if she were injured for real. I will. Don't worry, and give orders boldly. We'll follow your lead later. Really? The mere thought of ordering Tristan around later thrilled Charles. This is the first time I've got such an opportunity. Yes, we'll follow your lead, Tristan asserted. It was Charles's first time leading a mission, so they would naturally obey his orders. Okay. He had always charged ahead, and though this was his first time taking command, his capabilities were there for all to see. It was just that Tristan's and Sean's capabilities were far too strong, leading to him lacking such an opportunity. Meanwhile, Tristan and Sophie walked toward the terrorist organization's headquarters together. At that moment, helicopters were already hovering above the building and had dropped 2 to 3 thermal weapons. The leader of the terrorist organization was native to Fandar, a dark-skinned man standing at 1.98 meters. He had a deep scar on his face that spanned his entire countenance. The men he sent out were currently being punished for having failed to capture the 2 Shanians as ordered. To him, the best punishment was a shot in the head. He killed several of his subordinates in one go and was planning to go and meet Sophie personally when his headquarters was blown up. It's bad, boss. Someone is sneaking an attack on us. What? Who is so audacious to come and provoke me? The man instantly shot to his feet, emanating murder. Needless to say, he was no ordinary person since he managed to establish his own kingdom in that place. Snagging his weapon, he stalked out to confront the enemy at once. As Tristan and Sophie bulldozed into the building, Their firepower was intense. Wherever they went, the members of the terrorist organization were thoroughly trounced. Both of them had black wireless earphones in their ears, and Charles's voice drifted out of the devices from time to time. There's an ambush 100 meters ahead. As for the person you're both looking for, he's 500 meters away at the front. Charles already had someone hack into the terrorist organization's internal network. Consequently, the situation at their headquarters was wholly in the palm of his hands right then. Roger. Sophie's performance throughout the mission astounded Bertram. But on second thought, he found that it made much sense. She's the only woman who's worthy of a man like Mr. Tristan. Her marksmanship is entirely on par with his. However, Tristan was slightly chagrined at the look in the man's eyes, for he detested other men paying too much attention to his woman. Stay here for some time after the matter here has been resolved, Bertram. You seem to like this place quite a bit. Hearing that, Bertram was downright stumped. When did I ever say that I liked this place? I don't like it here at all, okay? Mr. Tristan, I don't have any desires on Ms. Tanner. I merely admire a girl like her greatly. Alas, Tristan walked away nonchalantly. Ms. Tanner, Sophie did not bother about him either but continued forging ahead. It was a terrorist organization feared by all, yet they were acting as though they had entered their own territory. At the end of the day, it could only be said that their capabilities were simply too outstanding. Left alone behind them, Bertram teetered on the verge of crying. What exactly have I done? If I'd known, I wouldn't have gazed at Ms. Tanner with admiration in my eyes. I've realized my mistake now. I don't want to stay here and get burned by the sun to the point that I become unrecognizable. I don't have a girlfriend yet, nor am I married. How could he do this to me? In the meantime, the leader of the terrorist organization had sent men out to ambush the intruders. Unfortunately for him, Tristan was not at all bothered by them. He worked so well with Sophie that those men had already gone to meet their maker before having the chance to make a move against them. It's bad, boss. The intruders have broken in. Just as his words rang out, Tristan, Sophie, and Bertram reached the main hall. Tristan's men had also jumped out of the helicopters one by one and surrounded the place. Joe gaped at the few people before him in disbelief. Who are the lot of you, and do you know what this place is? How dare you come here? Having been through various trials and tribulations, he swiftly composed himself. Furthermore, he had a powerful force backing him up. If it weren't for the person backing him up ordering him to capture the two Shanians, he would never do so. Bertram was tickled pink by his words. Why do people like him always love flaunting their low IQ? No matter the answers to those questions, we're already here, no? Does it make any difference? Surrender your weapon, Joe. You're already surrounded, Bertram uttered icily. With Tristan and Sophie there, he had not contributed much during the mission this time. Such a feeling was really something else. Do you know who I have backing me up? Who exactly are the lot of you? Joe demanded impatiently. Despite seeing that his headquarters had truly been surrounded, he still could not believe it then. We aren't interested in your identity. I only came here with a question for you, Sophie drawled. When one was unfamiliar with her, she would give off a lackadaisical vibe. In turn, such a vibe would make the person lower his guard against her. What do you want to ask me? I don't think I've ever seen you. In that case, You're truly amusing. Didn't you send men to Englander to capture me? Yet, you now claim that you don't know me. Don't tell me you've been scared out of your mind. For a moment, Joe went silent. You're the two Shanians? Only then did realization dawn upon him. Yeah, we are. Right now, can you tell me why you want to capture us? Ha! You're offering yourself up on a silver platter. Never had it occurred to Joe that the couple would have the guts to come over. At that precise moment, the members of the terrorist organization who had been lying in an ambush in the main hall rushed out and surrounded Tristan and the others. Since you dared come here, don't dream about leaving today. He expended a lot of effort in building his base, yet they had completely destroyed it that day. Thus, he was determined to have them pay the price. Sophie swept a gaze over the 20-odd fighters who had charged out from the shadows. Why is this your last trump card? Does he think that he can keep us here with just 20 over men? Are you underestimating them? They're all men who'd been with me for more than 10 years, and countless top fighters in the world had died at their hands. Does she really think that my terrorist organization is easy prey? I see. From the looks of it, he isn't going to cooperate until he has been taught a lesson. Finish them off. Joe barked at the 20-odd guards under his command, the final ace up his sleeve. As soon as his words rang out, a murderous gleam glinted in Tristan's eyes. They want to die, huh? Fine, I'll grant them their wish. Putting their backs together, Tristan and the others promptly launched a fierce battle.
Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this story, please like and share so others can see it too. Also hit the subscription button and notification bell so you can be notified on our next release. Thank you for your support. God bless you.